Hi everyone, I'm hoping you can hear me. I'll just wait for someone to confirm that you can hear me okay. Haven't had much chance to set this up, so let's just have a look here. So Trump has extended the immigrant ban. It's Trump. What can I say? He just behaves in this way for no particular reason. It's not useful. Um, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't help what he says it's going to help. But anyway, he's extended it. We knew this was a possibility. Um, so happy New Year to all of you, and I'm sorry this is going to be a last minute wrench in some of your travel plans. So Lam Coffee, for example, you've booked your flight for tomorrow. So let's just discuss it. He's booked it in the last few minutes. He's extended the immigrant ban. I'm just going to have a look here to see if any of the lawyers have picked up on this. I'm sure Curtis has been sitting on sitting on this. Yes, so he's no. So Curtis is confirming, what I'm hearing too. Curtis has confirmed it with a four-letter word. So the immigrant ban, which is Presidential Proclamation 10014, that has been extended. That is the ban that means that you can't enter. This is not the 14-day bans. This is not the Muslim ban. This is the general exclusion on people, that are not supposed to enter. Now, he has made this until March 31st. The new administration will come in on January 20th. And so there's basically, I guess, three different options that people have got. So let's talk about all three. Number one, for someone like Lam Coffee, you've booked your flight for tomorrow. Lam Coffee, I don't know whether you're traveling on your own or whether with a family, or I hope you're the principal selectee. But in your situation, you could go to the airline and see if they'll let you on board, and you could, if they'll let you on board, because they obviously won't have this last minute information, right? If they let you on board, you could try and enter the USA, and you may get admitted to the USA. There have been a number of people who have been admitted since the immigrant ban has been in place from the September issuances. There have been people. There has also been at least a couple of people turned around at the airport. So turned around at the airport, not allowed to board by the airline, or turned around at the port of entry, where the Customs and Border Patrol have not let them in. In general, that would be a difficult thing for them to actually make happen, and so I'm not sure. I don't think at all this is going to be a well-organized thing. When someone such as Trump pulls a trigger like this at the last moment, it's bound to cause some chaos, and in that chaos, you might be able to take advantage of being able to enter. If you enter, if Border Patrol let you in after the airline board you, etc., then you're in. You're a lawful permanent resident. There's no problem. If you are turned around at the airport, there's no problem. If you're turned around at the Border Patrol, if you're turned around, they send you back on another flight. They don't take your visa away. It's just a pain in the ass, frankly. So there you go. So you're welcome to try. It's really your choice. I'm sure some of the lawyers would disagree with me on that. Okay, but that's your first option. That's option number one. Option number two is to wait until January 20th, because on January 20th, President Biden is going to take office. If you are watching the news, you're probably thinking that there's some sort of chance that that isn't going to happen, because political figures here are, even one senator, are doing various things to try and delay or overturn the election. That is not going to succeed. None of that is going to succeed. It's political theatre. It's to allow Trump and his cronies to raise money, and to, in theory, fight the fraudulent election, which was absolute bullshit. No less than 60 lawsuits were filed by Trump and his cronies, the GOP. He lost all 60 of them apart from one, which was on a technicality and not to do with fraud. He lost all 60 of them. In all 60 of them, all cases were thrown out because there was no evidence of fraud in any state, in any place. And we're talking widespread fraud. There is obviously one or two individual little cases where, some guy voted for his wife or for his dead mother or whatever. There's always that. There's always that. But in terms of significant fraud that would result in the presidential election being overturned, there is nothing. They've had 60 cases. They've tried to take it to the Supreme Court. There's nothing. So there is no chance that Biden is not going to be inaugurated on January the 20th. He has already said that he's going to remove the Muslim ban on day one, right? There are 7 actions that he plans to take on day one. And one of those actions he's already talked about as being removing the Muslim ban. I'm sure people close to this will be lobbying the Biden administration, who are the administration elect, as it were. They're in waiting to try and get who will now try and get this additional ban removed as well, PP10014. I think they're likely to achieve that. It probably won't be on day one, but let's say by the end of January, hopefully, maybe that's going to be taken away. So that's your other option, to now wait until after the 20th. So option one is try and enter, particularly for those of you that have got flights booked in the next couple of days. Why not? What have you got to lose? Go to the airport, and if they say no, you can't enter, you can't go on the plane, then they'll change your flight there and then. It might cost you a few bucks or whatever, but you can make different plans. Option two is wait until Biden gets into office and hope that he removes the ban. Option three will be legal options, right? So both in the Annunziata case with Cook, Siskin, Joseph, those 3 lawyers, they'll be doing something. I'm sure there'll be some relief. There'll be some other lawsuits filed, but they may not be able to be very fast. So we could probably get them through by the March time, which is when a lot of people's visas that were issued in September will be running out. But I can't say for certain that it will be done. I don't think it'll happen before January 20th. So they could try and file a TRO now, very quickly, and try and get some immediate relief. And I think they would be likely to succeed on that basis. But up to now, we've not overturned a ban, right? We have forced the government to issue visas, even though a ban was in place. All right, Judge Mehta did that. He said, no, the fact that you're not allowing entry doesn't mean you shouldn't be issuing visas, right? And so we've managed to get visas issued, but we haven't officially taken any bans down yet, right? So there is no, I think there's significant sympathy and possibility that some of the lawyers could achieve that in relatively short order, but I don't think it'll happen in the next 3 weeks. They may disagree with me. I haven't spoken to any of the lawyers. This extension of the ban has only happened in the last few minutes. So that's obviously the situation there. We can wait to speak to the lawyers. I'm sure over the next day or two we can figure out what opportunities they believe are possible, right? So that's 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, try and enter anyway. Number 2, wait until the 20th when Biden administration takes over and see within the first week or two what they do. I suspect they'll probably remove this ban, but we can't say for sure. And number 3, file some lawsuits. Now, I suspect that number 3 needs to go ahead anyway, because we can't be certain that Biden will remove the bans, right? So unless there's some public statement made by Biden which makes it moot, and he says, I'm planning to remove that ban on, on the first day or the first week or whatever, then we probably have to sort of challenge with lawsuits. Now, there is a lawsuit already going, the Annunziato case. Curtis Morrison has got lawsuits going, although Curtis Morrison's are only for named plaintiffs, but the Annunziato case, they're still requesting a class action on that. And so that fights on behalf of all DV 2021 winners and also DV 2020 who've not been allowed to enter now, who rather, that's a good point. I think we might actually have a lack of standing in DV 2020 cases who were issued with visas. That probably isn't part of the Annunziato case. So we're going to have to talk to the lawyers about those opportunities, right? To further protect the people that got their visas back in September. And we're talking about 6,000 people. So, this is an important thing for us to achieve. So I believe we'll win that fight, but we don't know. Let's talk about the other impacts of this, and I think somebody's already sort of thinking about that. Monta, you're saying would they continue pending sending emails? Okay, so we know that based on one of two things, either the embassies being closed or the ban being in place has so far allowed KCC to say they're not sending 2NLs. They're not sending interview schedules. They haven't scheduled any interviews for January, for December, for February, etc. So, they've not scheduled any interviews, and this extension of the ban will probably make that worse. Okay, so that is where the Annunziato case certainly comes into play, which is about DV 2021 cases. And it makes it essential that we get a win there. That's going to be incredibly important. KCC are already screwing us all over because they're not moving in the way that Judge Mehta told them to move. Right? Judge Mehta made it very clear that the president's ability to stop entry does not mean that you don't process cases. So they're just continuing to behave in an illegal manner. Okay, so I was just talking about you booked a flight for a single and it's a refundable one. Good try. Okay, so since you're single, Lamb Coffee, if it were me, and I'm only, this is your choice at the end of the day. This is what I would do if I were in your position, and I'm not, this is not legal advice. This is up to you to use your common sense about, right? You decide. But if it were me, I have a ticket. I would at least go to the, I'd pack my bags and I'd go to the airport and I'd try and get on the plane. Once on the plane, I would turn up at immigration, pretending I don't know anything about this extension of the ban, and I'd try and talk my way into the country. And I think if you get past the airline, you're more than 50-50 to get into the country, because their procedures normally say if you've got a visa, an immigrant visa, then you're allowed to come into the country. They're not used to implementing this ban. So only a very switched on Border Patrol agent would actually know to stop you based on this extension. Okay, so that's I hesitate to say that's my advice. It's not quite my advice, because I don't feel I can advise you, Lamb Coffee, without a relationship with you and without knowing your situation. But that's certainly what I would do in your situation, or what I assume to be your situation, particularly if you're traveling on your own. You haven't got a wife and 3 kids, that are going to turn up at the airport and travel 10 hours or whatever on a plane and then get turned around. So, it's just you. It's worth it. It's worth it as a gamble. That's what I think. That's your choice. Okay. Let me just, Bundix, yes, I'm sad as well. I was really thinking he wasn't, although then I thought he wasn't going to extend it, but then we saw he extended another PP, and then another one came out. There's been a couple of sort of presidential actions. Another one came out, and my heart was sinking, because it looked like, okay, he's paying attention to some work. He's not doing anything to save lives. We've got 350,000 dead people. He's not done anything about that. He doesn't care about Americans dying, but he cares about immigrants coming in. Tells you everything you need to know about this asshole. Really does. It tells you everything you need to know. He doesn't care about people dying, but he does care about his racist followers who want to keep immigrants out because they don't understand the benefit that immigrants bring. Just complete idiots. But anyway, so am I talking about the June 22 proclamation? Yes, effectively, that's what we're talking about. Right, we're talking about Presidential Proclamation 10014 has been extended until March 31st. Okay, now this is another good question. If the visa expires, if you can't be helped, and the visa expires, at the moment we have no guarantee that we can extend visas. Okay, the lawyers are fighting for that. They have already they've already listed that as being something that they're going to want to do, but we've got no guarantee that we're going to win that argument at the moment. So I want people to assume that the September issued visas cannot be extended. That may change, but right now assume that they cannot be extended, and therefore use every effort to make sure that you can use that visa. Okay, whether it's being cheeky, turning up at the airport, trying to get in the country, whether it's whether it's fighting through a lawsuit, whether it's hoping that Biden removes this latest extension. One or the other ways, I want you to try and focus on making the most of those visas. I believe we can get people in. You're right. It's immigration bans and golf. Then, yeah, absolutely. Space travel, the two most important things on Trump's mind. Unfreaking believable. What an asshole. Not you, space traveler. Trump, obviously. Have the lawyers received class certification in the Annunziato case? No, they've not. The judge has not ruled on that one way or the other. So there you go. Is it officially extended? Yes, it's officially. It takes some time to update the website. So yes, it's going to be extended. This information is coming from the White House pool of reporters. It's solid information. It's he thinks immigrants failed him. I guess I don't know what you mean by that, Nadir. Immigrants can't vote. So I don't think he blames them for his loss. 81 million people who voted, none of those are green card holders. They're, you can't vote as a green card holder. But yeah, I mean, in his crazy mind, who the hell knows what he thinks, right? Okay, booked my flight on the 5th. What should I do now, please? So rewind, and you'll hear what I said to Lamb Coffee, which was, you can try to enter if you want to try to enter, depending on your situation, or wait till the 20th when Biden takes over, see if he removes this extension, or wait for the lawyers to fight it. Those are your three options as I see them. The only hope is on the Annunziato case. Yeah, that's. But that Bundix, the problem I see with that case is there was an aspect of DV 2020 cases in there, but it wasn't to protect the people that had visas issued in September. So I don't believe, I could stand corrected on that, but I don't think it's designed to help those people. I think the assumption was that we would get to this point and see if it's extended. Okay. Will Biden remove all these bans, and will he favor us, DV 2020? So, okay, so I believe he will remove these bans. Yes, he's talked about removing the Muslim ban already. He's actually committed to doing that on day one of his presidency, which is, it shows us how important he sees immigration and unfair treatment of immigrants, right? To me, that's what that shows. And so I think that's very significant. But we don't know for sure what he'll do about this ban because, of course, this ban wasn't supposed to be in force on the 20th, right? So we have to wait. And then we should fight to preserve all the 55K visas for DV 2021. understand that there is no guarantee of 55K visas being issued in any year, right? So there is, I understand the perspective, I understand the feeling, and I'm glad to see the lawyers optimistic and prepared to fight about this. But you also have to understand that there have been plenty of years where not all the visas are issued, and there's nothing wrong with that as far as the government is concerned. So they're not told off, they're not punished or whatever if they don't issue all the visas. So we have to fight, unfortunately, to get them to issue as many as possible. Yes, it's having an impact for DV 2021 because it's allowing KCC to continue to not schedule interviews. That is losing us time. I've said before, I believed we could have lost January, we could have lost October, November, December, and still made the targets. We're now losing January, February, and perhaps March, and that's much, much worse. That's going to leave us not enough time to process all the cases, so we have to see. Monica, they're using two tactics. So Curtis's case, Curtis's effort, I can't remember, Project Voyager. So Curtis has not got a lawsuit. This is Curtis Morrison I'm talking about. He hasn't got a lawsuit, but he's got a formal lobbying process. And he's paid some amount of money for lobbying to take place. Lobbying is using political influence, professional lobbyists who mix with politicians and try and get something done. I think other lawyers, frankly, and other people are trying other avenues, perhaps not official lobbying, but actually other avenues. All those efforts are useful. We don't know. We don't know exactly, what those efforts are going to bring. We can't guarantee it. It's persuasion. It's not litigation. Okay. If one attempt to enter in has been sent back, does the visa been took away? Horrible English, but I understand what you're saying, Paulie. No, they don't take your visa away. So if you try it, there's really no downside to it apart from perhaps the cost of the plane tickets, that you might increase your costs, and of course the time and the hassle and that sort of thing. But as far as I've heard, nobody has been negatively impacted. And there is no law that I know of that says if you try and enter with your immigrant visa and get turned around, that they're going to take away your visa. That's complete. There is no law that would support that. That would, that's not going to happen. I've talked about Joe removing the bans. As I say, he's talked about removing the Muslim ban. We'll have to see what he does about this later ban. Okay. What's happening, Alberto says, well, they've extended the immigrant ban, Alberto. That's what's happening. PP10014 has been extended. This is the immigrant ban that was due to expire tonight. It's been extended by Trump, the idiot in chief. Quick question. Do you believe any DV 2021ers really will make it to America this year? Either lowercase number or higher ones? Yes, of course I do. We're in December. We've got until the end of September. I don't understand negativity. I really don't. It doesn't. I mean, I don't mean that. I don't mean that aggressively towards you, Alex. I just don't understand why some people are prepared to give up at the first hurdle. We'll get some cases through. Of course we will. It's idiotic to suggest we won't. Now, Corona is really bad right now all around the world. There's 1/3 of a million people who have died in America. So there's big, serious problems, and immigration is not really as important as people dying, right? But nevertheless, I do believe we're going to get to some sort of sense of normalcy this year, and we'll use every effort we can to get some of the DV 2021 winners through, as well as get as many of the DV 2020 winners through as we can. So yeah, please just try and stay positive. I understand it's difficult, but there's nothing to be helped by being relentlessly negative. I don't understand it. If we try and travel the office, what do we say? Please read mine. Okay, so Angels Makeup and More says, why did you come while the ban is active? you're not expected to be a political pundit, right? As far as you're concerned, the ban was ending on December 31st. That's what the ban said. And if 6 hours before it ends, he extends it, how the hell are you supposed to know? You're not supposed to know, of course. They're not, it's not for you to know. It's only because of the lawyers that are getting information out and this sort of video and that sort of thing that you know anything about it at all. Normally you would just go around, behaving as normally. So just go ahead and, when they say something like, why did you bother trying to come or whatever, you just say, I thought it was ending. Right? What do you mean it's been extended, right? I normally believe in telling the truth, but when people cheat and I'm talking about the government, then screw them, right? You can go to their level sometime, and sometimes you got to fight for what you want, and that's what this is. It's fighting. Okay. How does it impact a DV 2020 26K non-plaintiff? Your number is irrelevant. DV 2020 I've spoken about many times. We have to see what the lawsuit says. Joe Biden is not thinking about the DV 2020 cases. It's a big uphill battle we've got there. So we've got litigation, which is reserved the 9,095. We'll try to get other visas, but we've got to be a bit realistic here as well. As much as there is optimism in the lawyers' camp, what they've done in achieving the 9,095 is good so far, and hopefully they can extend that and try more. Try to get more. Can Biden order KCC to continue normal process of visas? He can. He'll challenge policies. Now, again, Biden has got a ton of things to think about. And 55,000 DV lottery winners, either from 2020 or 2021, is not at all on his priority list. Okay, which is why we're fighting to do things legally. Immigration in this country is 1 million visas a year normally, just about 1.1 or 1.2 million visas. DV lottery is 50,000. Barely anyone knows anything about it, and so it's not going to be on Biden's mind really. And he's not going to go out of his way to make some phone calls to say, hey, KCC, you make sure you get those lottery winners sorted out. That's not what he's thinking about. He's thinking about saving lives and running the country. And there's 19 million people unemployed. There's 4,000 people a day dying. 9/11 killed about 3,000 people, and we went to war over it. Trump has let more than that number of people die every day, for weeks now, and we're not doing a damn thing about it. They've got a vaccination program, but they're slow to roll it out. Biden's job number one will be restoring the economy and saving lives. All right, so you got to understand the priorities is going to be a little bit different to your priorities. Biden's priorities will be different. Okay. Bundix says, yeah, well, that's the lawsuit, Bundix. That's how we won the lawsuit. So it doesn't stop issuing the visas. So that was the point of the lawsuit. We said, look, you're behaving in a way that's not described in law, so you've got to continue doing the processing. But part of KCC's excuse for not scheduling cases at the moment is that DV lottery cases are not considered mission critical. We got the judge to change the prioritization of DV lottery for DV 2020. But the order was only about DV 2020. So he said two things. Number one, you need to process, even though people are not going to be able to enter. And number two, you need to treat the cases as mission critical. After that point, most of the embassies in the world are not seeing non-mission critical cases. And so KCC are taking either the ban or the closure of the embassies to say that they don't need to be scheduling any cases. So I don't know exactly which of those two things is stopping them. I was hoping it was the ban. And then when the ban was deemed to be over, they could go back to to scheduling, but they didn't do that. And so I think it's likely that they're also taking into account the non-mission critical aspect of DV lottery cases, that they're not as high priority as, looking after citizens abroad and that sort of thing. And therefore not prepared to risk any embassy workers' lives, etc. Okay, so I think I've got the message out that I wanted to get out. I'm sure I could sit on this call for another hour and we'd have constant questions, but I just wanted to get this message out. I'm just getting ready for a New Year's celebration with my family this evening, and I need to return to that, to return to those preparations. But I was watching this, and as soon as I saw that come through, I wanted to get online with you here. And my heart breaks for those of you that are affected by this. I don't think it's the end by any means, not for DV 2020 September issued people or for DV 2021, but it's just making life bloody difficult for everyone at the moment. And for that, I apologize. Our current president is a complete moron. And I look forward to 20 days' time when we can return to normalcy and decency and intelligence. Bundix, yes, I'm in touch with Charles Cook and Greg Siskind and so on. They already know about this, I'm quite certain. They're watching this. Curtis Morrison has been watching this too. And so we'll all get on this and fight as hard as we can. Okay, just quick scan through. Yes, Happy New Year to all of you, by the way. Happy New Year. This will be a better year. 2020 was a very difficult year. I need to explain how bad this year has been for a lot of people. There are many people in the USA who've lost their jobs, etc. I'm sure in various countries around the world there are many people suffering. 2020, has been a hell of a year. I'll be glad to see the back of this one. 2021 will be better. A new government will be better for the United States and for the rest of the world. We'll again return to a position of leadership in the world that we have just ignored while Trump has been in office. And so, things will get better. I'm very confident that that 2021 has some good things in store for all of you. So best wishes for all of you. Happy New Year. Goodbye to this crappy 2020, and let's look forward to 2021. And even though President Trump continues to be, a thorn in our side, he'll be gone in 3 weeks' time. And so, I'm feeling positive about that. Okay, everyone. All right. Have a great day. Happy New Year. I'm sure for some of you, by the way, it's already 2021. So, very much Happy New Year to all of you. All right. Bye-bye now. Cheers.